guys? TheParaFlyer here, back with another wrestling video. I just got back from attending Wrestlemania Night 2, and we're going to go over my thoughts and feelings over WrestleMania as a whole, both 1 and 2. I initially had a video ready to go for Night 1, but we were super tired. I didn't like the lighting. My reaction to it is not the same as it is now, with being cold and tired and plain exhausted. I mean, I did SmackDown, Hall of Fame, Stand and Deliver, and then WrestleMania Night 1, all within like 24 hours. So um, I just I just wanted to do them all together. So we're going to go over everything. I'm going to let you guys know how I'm feeling about it. This is a perspective of someone who attended, and I can tell you it's going to be different than people who watched it on Peacock or WWE Network or whatever it is. So, and I'm sure my thoughts may change once I do rewatch the replay of everything, especially the main events. And it not necessarily meaning that's a bad thing. It might even enhance it even more. But I know that it's going to be a little bit different. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. The first match of night 1 was Becky Lynch versus the champion Rhea Ripley. Rhea retained. I love the entrance for Rhea. Becky's was very plain from the, not plain, but like just a normal Becky entrance from where I was sitting. Rhea got the live performance and everything, and you know, they did the job. They did what they needed to do, and I really did like this match. I don't think this rivalry is over by any means, but it was nice to see Rhea get that win, kind of solidify herself as a, you know, legit champion if she had not already. Me personally, this championship reign of Rhea has been a little weird because I feel like she hasn't really had that match yet, you know, to define the title reign. In the beginning, she was squashing people, and then she started doing a lot of just Judgment Day things instead of really defending the title. Where now that we're at a year now, she's actually started to put the title on the line a little bit more and have some really good matches. And I did like this match. I don't think everybody might feel the same way about it, but I thought they did great, especially knowing that Becky was super sick and was out there with the fever and everything and still pulled off a great performance. So I did like this match, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So the next match on the list was the 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed tag team titles. Both titles were hanging up from the rafters. It was so cool to see them separated and that you had to grab both of them separately. I thought they would put them next to each other. Two teams would try and grab them and maybe one fell with one belt in the other. But no, they made it very distinct and completely separated. And I thought that was a very nice touch. One gripe, we all saw it. We all know it. Awesome Truth's entrance got cut short. And then the graphic stayed up for longer than it needed to be during Pete Dunne and Tyler Bates' entrance, the New Catch Republic. Production issues were a theme of this WrestleMania from somebody who was in the audience. And, you know, I'm one that loves entrances. My favorite thing about going to a WWE event is the entrances. Playing 2K, I will sit there and I will watch every entrance every time if I'm really feeling it. And those are the memories for me, you know. So that kind of ruined it a little bit for the entrances, whatever. But the other thing, I'm just gonna bring it up now. I was gonna bring it up later, but one of the bars above the WrestleMania sign that had the Titantron, right in the middle, right? Pretend this is the Titantron bar, right? And pretend it says Roman Reigns on it, right? In the middle was the screen that they would show what you guys were seeing on your, like, the network and whatnot, and Peacock. And so it would cut off. So if it said Roman Reigns, it would cut off the end of Roman's name and the beginning of Reigns, and it would just have the view, the feed. And I'm just like, it's so bothersome to see that. Like, you can't miss it. And, oh, man, that was just annoying to see. That's all I'm going to say, okay? And then, anyway, the 6-pack ladder match, great stuff. Not the greatest ladder match of all time, but it had its spots, it had its moments. I liked that the SmackDown tag team titles got taken down somewhat early so that I could really focus on the ending. And this was R-Truth, man. This was his moment. The man has been pulling off some great stuff for years now. My boy Ron the Truth Killings, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, right? got his moment at WrestleMania. He got to do his John Cena bit. He got to take down the Judgment Day. He got to be the one to climb up the ladder like he did in the Royal Rumble when there were no tag team belts on the line. And he got to be the one to take down those Raw tag team belts. And I love that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a long reign. I know some people were complaining that it is not a serious team. It doesn't need to be. You know, giving them WrestleMania moment, you can lose the titles tomorrow. You can have them lose them 3 months from now. You could have a really good story to tell. We're talking about R-Truth and The Miz, two of the people that have been here for such a long time. They definitely deserved to have the WrestleMania moment here and win those tag belts. So, and we got A-Town Down Under to get those belts to a nice young up-and-coming tag team as well. So I think good things, nothing but praise for the ladder match here. All right. So next we had Rey Mysterio and Andrade versus Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom Mysterio. Now, I really thought that Dirty Dom was going to get his WrestleMania win back from his dad. This match surprised me. It had a bit of spots. I mean, we have a lot of the Lucha Libre going on in there, a lot of, the Mexican wrestling style, and there were really good matches. Me personally did not really care about the rivalry, the build for this match. I didn't really watch too much of it, so it's not really, it's kind of just on me, not in general, or saying that the general consensus was that way. But personally, I wasn't really super invested into this feud, and the ending was just, like I said, surprising. Really thought they were going to get the win. They didn't. Two Eagles players, Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey, came out, interrupted, got involved, helped Rey Mysterio and Andrade get that victory. Really cool to see Andrade, who was in AEW for a while, come back and get a WrestleMania match. And we don't really have too many WrestleMania matches of Rey Mysterio left, so appreciate that. But I really thought that Dirty Dom, especially being inserted into this rivalry kind of with a couple of weeks remaining, would get his win against his dad, and he did not. And I was expecting the Carlito heel turn. I really thought that was how the match was going to end, and it didn't. So something we'll probably see down the line in further SmackDowns, if not this SmackDown coming up. Dragon Lee took his spot, and Andrade took his spot. So I definitely think that Carlito heel turn is coming. That's my prediction. But as far as this match goes, it did the job. It was fun to watch, and nothing really to complain of it. So we'll move on to the next one. The 6-women tag match. Now, again, production values killed the beginning of it for me, because when I say kill it, I don't mean the whole entire match. I just mean in general for the entrances. The Damage Control came out, and by the time they hit the ramp, the back Titantrons and everything just went black. They didn't play the video feed or anything. Just went completely black. And that was to set up the 3 other ladies to come into the little elevator spot, whatever. But it just was kind of weird. You're talking about the tag team champions here. And, the tag team champions deserve to have some love on their entrance. So the beginning was really nice, don't get me wrong, but it was just a little weird to see that in person. And then the other gripe, Jade comes out first, comes down and off the elevator first. They play her music for a little while. And then Naomi comes off. And she got like 4 or 5 second entrance before they switched to Bianca's. I'm a TNA Impact guy. I loved having Trinity there, watching her become the Women's Knockout Champion. And since she's come back, I feel like she hasn't really got that respect that she deserves. The whole reason why she left was to get that respect, and she did make a name for herself as Trinity outside. She comes back, she has a nice little WrestleMania moment, but she's had a 3-minute squash match when her time got cut, got a jobber entrance then, and then hasn't really had too much until this last couple weeks with the whole Bianca Damage Control stuff. So surprising, and that kind of plays later into the match for me for how I feel about this match. Then Bianca's music hits. I love the song. It's still on my on repeat playlist right now, but I just thought it was weird that Bianca kind of got the big walk down with the music. I feel like that maybe should have been Jade's spot since it's her first WrestleMania, but I digress. I'm not going to go too much into the entrances too much. The match itself, short. I really wish that they would have took some of the time off the main event to give to these ladies, because it was only, I believe, about 8 minutes. So these girls can go. You got the tag team champions in there. You got the debuting Jade Cargill, you got former women's champions in there and stuff. And I don't know. I feel, and Dakota Kai's, been out for over a year. I know she's had a couple matches on SmackDown, but, it's kind of like Dakota Kai's big return. I wish they would have gave this time a little bit more. I think there have been rumors that Asuka might have been hurt and stuff, but you still have two other ladies that could go in there. So Kairi Sane, it's her first WrestleMania since returning as well. So feel like they could have went a little bit longer. The match was good. They gave Jade Cargill her moment and everything, which was really nice. And I'm really hoping they keep them together. I know a lot of people want to see Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, but I kind of want them to stick together. I think they need to give them a team name. Maybe give them their own entrance music so we don't do the 3 separate thing where someone gets shafted or 2 people get shafted. And I think we need to make them a tag team or a stable, a faction, and keep it that way for a while. There's nothing wrong with having them fight. We've seen Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio as tag team champions, WrestleMania 21, my favorite, by the way. And like, you can do those kind of things where you can still have them fight against each other and have that, that rivalry, but still stay together into a faction. I think that would be very helpful for not only the women's division, but the tag division as well. So we'll see where things go from here. I really like them as a tag team. I want to see more from them and maybe see some more established tag teams and factions and whatnot in the women's division. So very short match. Wish they would have got more, but I did like what I see. What I didn't like to see was what happened in the next match, and it was the Uso twins, Jimmy and Jay. They had a really nice package before the entrances started with their family history and whatnot, and I really did like that, but the match itself, it stunk. It really did, and we all knew going in that these guys have the same moveset, and I thought that was something that they would work on because it would be a detriment to the match, knowing that they do the super kicks, they do the high flying stuff, the splash and whatnot, that they would mix it up. There would be some emotion in there, but there kind of wasn't. Jimmy has interrupted Jay's title after title after title match. I thought there would be a little bit more emotion. I think this match could have used a no disqualification or Extreme Rules or some kind of stipulation in it to get more emotion. It kind of reminds me of WrestleMania 25 where Randy Orton and Triple H, they main evented. It was like a blood feud and stuff. And then they went into it and it was just a wrestling match. Not to say that this was just a wrestling match, but it's the kind of build where you're like, yes, you kind of kick each other's asses, Like, there should be a lot more hatred in here. But there wasn't. There was no Solo Sikoa either, which I'm glad that there wasn't, but also story-wise, it's a little weird to not have Solo there, especially after the SmackDown last night where Jay and Solo fought and Jimmy came out and they beat him down again, before Cody and Seth came out to save the day. So this match did not do it for me. I know I'm not alone in this. This, I think, is where the crowd turning and not being as WrestleMania as they needed to be. It started with this match, and I want to see more. You could do more. You can get Solo involved. You can get Rikishi involved. I believe they said they signed Jacob Fatu today. There's more that this story could go, but if they do continue it, it can't go the way it did at WrestleMania. So I don't want to spend too much time on that. We did the yeet, and the no yeets and whatnot. But I hope this doesn't kill Jay's run as main event Jay Uso. And I hope that Jimmy gets to flourish. And the other one other thing I really had a gripe about this match is Jimmy did the super kick into the splash for the pin, didn't get it. And Jay pretty much did the same exact thing and he got the pinfall. So I think he did do a spear beforehand, but it still was like, why does one do it and it's not good enough, and then the other one doesn't and it is good enough? Maybe do it twice, get a weapon in there or something else, man. I don't know, but match didn't do it for me. And again, I think this is kind of where the crowd kind of started to shift a little bit. So next on this list was Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. damn, this match was good. And I think this match was better on TV than it was in person. Now, side note to this, it was cold. I know that the screen and the graphics said it was 50, feel like 40. No, it felt way worse. The wind was really kicking. And especially, I sat at the very top in the 200 section. So maybe the people in the bottom didn't get it as badly as we did. But it was freezing. And I was wearing 5 layers. I knew this was going to happen. And I tried to prepare. I had gone to the Stadium Series Flyers versus Devils game in February and sat at the top and everything, and I was freezing my ass off, and I was like, it's going to happen again. It's about the same time. I'm going to try and bring a couple extra layers. Didn't matter. It was still super cold. A lot of the people in my section were cold. It was dark, too. Compared to night 2, they definitely turned the lights on for that. Night 1, when there was Sammy versus Gunther, it was dark around the outside of the ring area. It was almost pitch black for like the matches, right? Which will also play into night 2 and the chance that you guys might have heard in night 2. But by this time, we were starting to get tired. And like I said, I did every event so far. I also did World at WrestleMania. We went to the shop, but didn't do like all the other stuff. But between Stand and Deliver and WrestleMania night 1. So like, I know I'm not the only one that did that. So we were tired. And even if you didn't go to Stand and Deliver and you woke up to watch it at 12 o'clock, man, it's been wrestling for 10 hours now, you know? So I think the crowd was a little bit tired and a little bit out of it. This match in person, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't bad. It was definitely really good, but I think watching it back is going to make this match even better for me personally and maybe some other people. But it was great. I loved the build-up. The other thing that killed, I forgot about this part till I just thought about it right now. When they did the build up to Sammy's entrance, right? When he's talking to his family, he's talking to Chad, and then he sees Kevin Owens before he hits the tunnel. We heard none of the things that were being spoken. You could see it on the screen, but you couldn't hear what they were talking about, which, again, is the production value here at WrestleMania, of all places, was lacking. So I still, right now, don't even know what he said to what Chad said to him or anything like that. I don't know what was said to his family or KO. And they kind of just embraced, so you kind of got that feeling. But it was nice to see him there. But we didn't hear any of that stuff. So the crowd was electric for the entrances. The match was super good. I loved this match. I'm a little iffy about Sammy winning the title right now. Everyone's been kind of behind Chad Gable. Maybe Chad's injured and they didn't. That's kind of why it was a little bit last second. I think the build for this match too is a little rushed. They could have pushed this back a little bit, like into the Royal Rumble, into this instead of having the tournament and then a couple weeks before WrestleMania. So the match though was great. I love the shout out to El Generico and doing the brainbuster off the top rope and everything. The haluva kicks. And Gunther getting cocky. I think that'll be very important going down the road, is Gunther being cocky and losing the title, where it still kind of protects him, where if he shows up on Monday Night Raw tomorrow and challenges Cody for the Universal or the WWE Championship, then it would be fine. It would make sense. He didn't go down in a way that I think is really going to affect him losing a title. Like, he can go straight to the main event, and I think everybody would be fine with that. So, great match. I personally enjoyed it. I just think it's going to be better when I watch it back. So, and we have the last match. This one is the biggest tag team main event of all time. The Rock and Roman Reigns versus Seth frickin' Rollins and Cody Rhodes. Now, watching this match with the conditions, with being up for a long period of time and doing all these events, I'm going to tell you I was a little tired, but I was into it. And a lot of people were still very much into it. I think that the complaints about the crowd also have to do with the wind and it affecting the microphones, because the place was still very electric. I will admit this, it was not as electric as it was today, but it still was pretty fire. But you could tell that it was a little off. And the other part with, all the events being very close together and whatnot is, at this point, before the match, now when the match starts, it's already taking like an extra 10 minutes for them to really get going, right? there was a 35-40 minute gap between the ending of Sammy's match and the beginning of the main event. There was the attendance thing. There was, all the entrances and whatnot. Then the slow start. I think a lot of people were just like, all right, let's get this going. Let's get some action because we kind of want to go home soon, you know? And it's no disrespect to that main event. I think watching this one back is going to be a way better experience than we had in the arena and in the stadium. But I think that's where that kind of fell off. If this match, like I said earlier, you shaved 10 minutes off that match because that match was 40-something minutes long. I think it was even longer than the main event of night 2. You shaved 10 minutes off of that, and you gave that to Bianca and the crew over there. I think this would have been more energetic. But they spent a lot of time, doing the look. We'll fight for 2 seconds. Look, tag, look, do a couple moves. Ha 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 ha. Look. And so that slow pace in the beginning was probably just like a drag on for the people in the stadium. So that's just how my personal guess on that one. I know there was a couple points where I'm just like, all right, can we wrestle now? We've been waiting years for this to happen. Let's get going. And once they did get going, this match was really good. They went into the crowd. There's some more complaints about that, but I'll get to that in a minute. They went into the crowd. They're beating the crap out of each other, and they'd come back in and they'd switch and they'd beat the crap out of each other and more and do all these things. It was really good. A gripe from this part when they go in the crowd, for us, again, I don't really know how the actual feed was, but for us, they focused on The Rock and Seth pretty much the entire time. While they're in the crowd doing stuff near that table, Cody and Roman are going up the ramp. They're beating the crap out of each other, and then Cody slams Roman's head into the big L on the stage, and I think that the feed switched after the hit already happened, right? Then they switched back to Rock and Seth, and they're not really doing much, but they are, and there's a lot of walking, and there'll be like a hit and more walking and stuff. Cody suplexes Roman like in front of the stage. Like that shot would have been perfect. You could see it from where I was sitting, but they didn't show it on the feed. And I'm like, dude, that's kind of a big deal. Like they should be the main focus right now. With like they were doing more over there, but those 2 moves happen on the ramp, and then that's it. They just kind of start making their way back down the ramp. So I'm like, you kind of missed the 2 like important parts of the Cody Roman fight on the ramp, but it is what it is. But it was really cool to see them come back. They kind of meet, and then they kind of switch who they're fighting with, and they start wailing on each other. There were a lot of good moves in this match. I personally liked the match. I can't say I love it. I liked the match. I like what it did for the second night. Rock and Roman, the bad guy. I was very worried about Seth taking the pin here. I'm so happy that Cody was the one that took the pin because I feel that enhances the story more and it protected Seth a little bit. You could also have a rivalry down the road now where Rock says, well, I pinned Cody Rhodes. I should have a shot at that title. And, that be played into their rivalry because I don't feel like that's over. I know Rock's probably going to do some movie stuff in the next couple months. I think he's not supposed to be back until August. But you can have that down the line for the title and whatnot. Seth gets protected. He is still the World Heavyweight Champion at this point. I don't want to see him taking 2 pins in one night or in one WrestleMania. So that was nice to see for that. We talked about it before about the secondary title moniker on the World Heavyweight title. So again, I'm really glad that he didn't take the pin there. Great night 1. My feelings about that night are better than I initially had it. Now that I've settled and I've watched, the second night and everything as a whole, very good stuff. The Usos is really only the downside of the match quality, presentation, also the speakers. Holy moly, the speakers for night 1 were so bad. I don't know if it's where I was sitting, but it was kind of, I felt like almost like a high school football game with how bad the speakers were, and the audio would like rotate in a circle. So where we're standing, let's say we're standing like right here and it's hitting us, but then the audio would kind of dampen a little bit. You know, it would come back around and then it would blast, and then it would kind of come back around like in a circle. So it was very weird. The production stuff, I expect better from WWE. I expect better from WrestleMania. I don't want to nitpick on it too much, but if you were there, you kind of know what I'm talking about, and hopefully they get that kind of sorted out for the future. So that's the end of night 1. We're moving on. It's night 2, and I don't think I have really anything bad to say about night 2 in terms of the matches and the show that WWE put on. Masterful. Definitely one of my favorite WrestleMania nights of all time, and we'll kind of explain why. We're going to talk about the gripe first. Let's get the negative out of the way first. If you were sitting at the top, there were these lights from the ring area, right? They come up and they have the flashing lights, and then behind the WrestleMania sign, above that Titantron I had mentioned earlier about the, you know, the screen there, higher than that, there were bright white lights. They were so bright compared to night 1, where I told you guys it was pretty much pitch black. Aside from the ring and the entrance stuff, it was dark. Not on night 2. The lights were so bright, they were almost like someone was shining a flashlight in your eye. There were like 3-4 specific lights that were just beaming. I could see from... My seats were different on night 2 than they were on night 1. I was directly in front of the Titantron in the far back. So I couldn't really see like entrances and stuff like that. But you could see on the left side of the entrance, it is just shining super bright on those people on the bottom levels, and then everybody on the top is just being blasted by these bright white lights. There were 3, I think, on the ring side, and then there was the 2 on the top, and people were going nuts. Like, you could hear the chants. I don't know if you could hear them because I haven't watched the replay yet, but you could hear them throughout the arena making up all these chants for them to turn the lights off because they were just shining so bright. It was really ruining the experience. I have a couple pictures too that I took, and I took one and put it on Twitter where you can literally see there's just boom, 2 white beams. They're ruining my pictures and my videos too because they're just shining directly at me. So if you're wondering why people were complaining about the lights, that's kind of why. I know a couple from What Culture, they were in the club seats. They had the angle that was like 4 beamed right into you. So you can definitely see those pictures. That's why it was going on. There was a part during the street fight where they turned them off and the crowd went crazy. They were like, thank you. I think it was when Bubba was talking to Karrion Kross in the corner, and you could see it on the screen, like him going like this, and they're talking in the corner and they're just crazy screaming. It was not for the pinfall. It was, or the kick out. It was for the lights just being turned off. And then like 3 minutes later, they turned them right back on. I know during the AJ Styles LA Knight match too, we were chanting so loud for them to turn the lights off because it'd be just one stupid light, boom, beamed in your face. So that's why those chants were going on. It did affect a lot of us in the crowd that were watching. It might have ruined a couple of matches for us. But yeah, we'll go on. First match was the World Heavyweight Championship match between Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre. Or if you're me, I'm calling Drew Galloway because of TNA. Amazing match. There was a lot of finishers in here, a lot of finishing, spamming, back and forth between them, but the ending was, was fantastic. And I kind of called this in predictions. I thought CM Punk would, interrupt. I said that Damian Priest would try to cash in, but CM Punk might stop it from happening. That is not what happened. CM Punk was a reason why the cash-in happened, and it was actually cool to see. I'm not the biggest CM Punk fan. I haven't really liked him almost ever. Like, I'm not a huge CM Punk guy, but I can appreciate the people that do and what he does for the business, and that he gets the pops, he brings in the ratings, and for him to get that WrestleMania moment and it helped Damian Priest win the title. Not only do I like Damian Priest winning the title, because I think it will elevate him and help him become even better than he is, I think it plays into the story really, really well. Drew had been talking about how Seth was distracted and how He's not focusing on the world title match like he should be. He's too distracted by other stuff. And at the end of the day, Drew winning the title and then losing it was his own fault because he wasn't focused anymore. So I think that's very poetic. It's a nice storyline. We're definitely getting Drew versus CM Punk at some point. I'm interested to see what they do with Damian and Judgment Day. But I thought the entire segment was just chef's kiss, good stuff, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Judgment Day have the 2 world titles now too. That's crazy. Both of them. Man, I'm really looking forward to what they're gonna do with that. So, the next one is the Philadelphia Street Fight between Lashley and his boys, the Street Profits, versus my boy Killer Cross and AOP, Authors of Pain. Initially, I'd said in the predictions, was not like into this match. I didn't really care about it that much. They didn't give me a reason to care for it, but I knew throwing Philadelphia Street Fight into it that it's going to be like last year's WrestleMania. We had 2 fatal 4-ways that were tags, and they just beat the crap out of each other. And we like that. We love to see that. So I had really I didn't care about the rivalry too much, but I did think that the match type was going to make this like a really good match, and it was. Bringing out Bubba Ray Dudley or Bully Ray was a nice little touch for the ECW crowd. We can talk about how the podcast and maybe being contracted by WWE and whatnot. We could talk about that another time. But for the moment, for the ECW fans and the crowd, I thought that was a really nice touch. Snoop Dogg on commentary means nothing to me because I couldn't hear him, but I'm sure that was nice for everybody who saw. I thought his theme song was a little weird. Like, it was the most Snoop Dogg song ever, but there were no lyrics, so it just kind of had like a little bit of like a, oh, cool, Snoop Dogg's here kind of feeling, you know? But like, I don't know, maybe give him a better theme song or, you know, one with lyrics in it. That's just my thought on that. You know, like I said, entrance guy here, but again, really good match. The table breaking for a nice little quote-unquote botch was just funny. This was just a fun match. It just didn't need to be the greatest match of all time. It just needed to be fun, especially in that second slot, and it was. Good to see Bobby Lashley get a chance to be on the WrestleMania card after being left off last year, and the Street Profits getting an opportunity. I think we need to start thinking about pushing the Street Profits into the title picture now. Maybe against Austin Theory and you know, A-Town Down Under, Grayson Waller and all that stuff. At some point, Lashley and the stable need to start being, you know, shown as a dominant faction, I think. So maybe go after Damian in the world title match before Clash of the Castle, even if Bobby doesn't win. Or maybe he could be the first opponent for Cody. I don't know. Street Profits tag titles, at some point, something's got to happen with them. And the Final Testament, I don't know. I don't know where you go from here. I don't think they need to be fighting the Lashley boys anymore. Lashley's boys, I should say. We'll see the direction that they go on. But fun match. That's all I got to say about that. Now, on to the next match, which was, I think it was LA Knight and AJ Styles. I'm going to say yes, it was LA Knight and AJ Styles, okay? I don't have the order of them on this list, but LA Knight and AJ Styles, Eli Drake versus the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Both of them former TNA World Heavyweight Champions. First, a side note, Drew Galloway, Lashley, Killer Cross, Bully Ray, and AJ Styles, bro. Already 5 big TNA guys. That is fire. Good to see them thriving. Ignore the beeping. It's just the battery dying on the smoke detector. Anyway, great match. I mean, we're not going to get many AJ Styles matches. He already said it. He's getting close to the end here. And, you know, it's just sad because I love AJ Styles. One of the big reasons I even watched TNA back in the day. You know, having those rivalries with John Cena and stuff. They did what they needed to do. LA Knight needed to win this to keep this momentum going, and it did. He beat a former world champion in different promotions, including the WWE. Like, this solidifies him as the mega superstar. Where we go from here with him, I'm not sure. Like I had mentioned, you could do Gunther, Bobby Lashley. Maybe he could fight Damian Priest. At some point, you gotta give this man a title. It's been too long. got to give this man a title at some point. He maybe should be the one to beat Logan Paul for the United States title at SummerSlam. Do we really want to wait 4 more months to give him the title? I don't know. I think the story with Kevin Owens and Randy, which we'll get to when we get to that match, I don't think it's necessarily over. We'll see where we go from here. But the match was great. The crowd, I think, was the biggest pop besides the main event. Was LA Knight. People been doing the yeah all the time in the crowd on our way to the seats when we left WrestleMania. He's the mega superstar. It's time to push him to the moon, Triple H, please. Great match. Did what it needed to do. We moving on to the United States title, the fake United States Championship, because I got the real one right here, baby, right? Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens. Nice little shout out to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn with the entrance, him kind of returning the favor now that he won the Intercontinental Championship to say, KO, it's your turn, get out there. And KO coming out with the golf cart that we saw on SmackDown, it was really cool. I like, again, this little nuggets, the little Easter eggs, or if you're paying attention, you get rewarded for it. To see that golf cart, to see him come back and pick up Randy and then both go down to the ring together was awesome. You might need to make them a tag team. RKO. It works, right? Am I right? I think I'm right here. Make them a tag team. They don't need to fight. I thought it was hilarious. I called Randy Orton turning on KO. Being the first one to, make that move because he's the Viper. He's a slippery snake. He is going to be the one to attack KO first. And they even had a little bit of a laugh about it. And then they just beat the crap out of each other. I mean, you're fighting for a championship here. You can't play nice forever. So it was the reason. Well, I guess it's not the reason, but we knew that this was going to play into Logan Paul retaining his title. And it kind of did. Seeing Speed in a prime bottle, being the one in the prime ball, I should say, and getting the shit kicked out of him by Randy was hilarious. And saying the RKO, the funniest RKO of all time, where he just starts barking and then hits him on the table. It's great to see content creators kind of being a part of the WWE now and how they're being pushed to the top. Whether you like Drewski, Logan Paul, Speed, whatever, KSI, is a moot point. I think this is really good for people who make content, who are streamers on Twitch and YouTube and Kick and Rumble or whatever you stream on. That there's opportunities out there for you, and that the real world, are taking these things seriously and realizing the potential of these kind of creators being self-made and working their way up, that you can get opportunities like that. Again, you might not have to like the people that are being involved. I know that a lot of people didn't like Ninja when he was becoming mainstream after Fortnite, but we needed somebody like Ninja to, break down the door and allow things like this to happen while he hasn't been on WWE. I think it's just an example of how content creators are now becoming a lot more prevalent, getting more opportunities, and opening up doors for other content creators to, get those opportunities as well. So great to see that. I thought the whole segment was funny. The pop-up powerbomb RKO was fantastic. And as we suspected, Logan Paul did retain his title. So I'm interested to see what goes on from there. I think that maybe LA Knight will be the one to dethrone him. They do have SummerSlam in Cleveland. Do we wait that long? Not sure. But Logan is a great athlete. And KO is an established superstar. And Randy is a legend. So this was a really good match. So 2 matches left. It's nice to see it. The Women's World Champion, the WWE Women's Championship. Io Sky and Bayley. Glad to see this go second to last, because that's kind of like the women's main event right here. And Bayley got her flowers. But I think we can't forget that Io Sky can go. I don't really think her reign has been that great. And so this is kind of like my fears that maybe she might not get another title again. We've seen that happen to some superstars before, where maybe one mediocre reign or one okay reign or whatever, they just don't get another chance, even though they have all the talent in the world. Io Sky has so much talent. I really do hope that this is not the last time that we see her with the championship. But it was Bayley's time. It was Bayley's moment. I was very shocked and pleasantly surprised that Damage Control was not here at all. I thought there would be some interference, especially because the story isn't just Bayley versus Io, it's Bayley versus Damage Control. So it was a little bit shocking to not see that play out here, but it was a very, very good match. I was not aware that the finish was going to be the finish. I thought we were going to see a Bayley to belly. We did not. We saw the I don't know what it's called. It's freaking 2 a.m. But she did like the face stomp onto Io to get the 1, 2, 3. I like the story played out with the moonsaults too, where Bayley kicks out of Io's moonsault, and so she keeps doing it. She does a standing one. She's doing one off the rope. She tries to do another one and whatnot to try and put Bayley away, and she just can't do it. So, great match. Bayley got her flowers, and here's where I think my last gripe will come from. No pyro. There was no pyro, really, the entire 2 nights. There was a couple during entrances, like Cody Rhodes, and I think The Rock got fired, but, Cody got some pyro at there. Roman definitely got some pyro and stuff. But, like, even during Roman's package, they showed fireworks around, I think it was WrestleMania 38, around the Cowboys Stadium, AT&T Stadium, right? Where the entire stadium just being lit up with fireworks and pyro and everything like that. But we got, like, none of that at all. We got no pyro during, like, the attendance announcements, even when Cody was crowned the champion, when Bayley was crowned champion, like, when Drew was crowned champion. I don't know if there was regulations for Philly or whatnot, but very odd to not see pyro for the championship matches, at least. So, and barely anybody got fired. There were some loud bangs, but no pyro during some of the people's entrances. So, again, just wanted to point that out. I thought that was strange. The main event. We're finally here. The story needs to be finished. It's Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns. An overbooked mess of a match that was just 10 out of 10. It was overbooked into oblivion. It needed to be overbooked. It was what we all predicted. It was like Avengers Endgame out there with everybody coming out fighting, doing something. The entrances were amazing. Roman got the live performance again. I don't think it tops the one from last year, but it's very, very close. Cody coming out with the skull from the Cody Vader. Brandy came out, got a huge reception as well. And this match was amazing. I think if I had to complain about something just a little bit, if I had to find it a complaint, is that maybe the Bloodline rules could have had a little bit more dastardly deeds in it before everybody started coming out. There was a couple, hits. There was a hint of a table where Roman then pushed it back underneath and what. They did go out in the crowd, but I think it was just, like I said, if I had to complain, which I don't have to, but, maybe a little bit more on the illegal activities that you would normally not see in a regular match. But Bloodline rules was really to get everybody and their grandma coming out to interfere and get involved. I had a suspicion John Cena was coming out. As soon as I saw Jimmy and then Jay came out, Jay got his entrance music, the spear right off the ramp was amazing. And then Solo comes out, they do the spike and the spear. My phone was prepped and ready to go because I knew he was coming out. You couldn't see him, but you knew he was there. My boy, John Cena, comes out, starts fighting Solo, and I thought it would be like him and just Solo. No, he picks up Roman and gives him the FU, the AA, right in the middle of the ring, then goes back out to go whoop some more Solo Sikoa ass, and then Dwayne The Rock Johnson comes out, and we get that Cena versus Rock stare down, then the Rock bottom on Cena, and then we thought this was going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin. You thought it was going to be him. I thought it was going to be him. It was not Stone Cold. It was the gong. The lights go off. I forgot. How could I forget? I am so sorry. Seth Rollins came out too. Seth Rollins came out before Undertaker. It was so short that you almost forget it happened. But the Shield music goes off. I thought I was the only one. I thought Dean Ambrose was here. I was like, huh? There's no way he's here. But then why would you play the Shield music? And then you see Seth Rollins call in the ring and get immediately destroyed, right? And you're just like, oh, it's just Seth. Yeah, I couldn't see from where I was standing, but I had to squint and be like, that's blonde hair, not a bald looking man or super, super short haired man. That's Seth Rollins. Okay. No Dean Ambrose. Okay. Anyway, Undertaker, gong goes off. He's looking at Rock. Rock's got his back turned and he turns around and takes a choke slam. I popped. Because the other WrestleMania I went to was WrestleMania 33, where Roman beat Undertaker in that god-awful main event. But it plays into the story that Taker lost to Roman and he's back. He chokeslams The Rock, and we can't forget that The Rock and Taker have a bit of history as well, right? So that was really, really nice to see, even if it wasn't Stone Cold's spot. Who better to do it than The Undertaker, right? Another Attitude Era GOAT. Then he leaves, and then we get the spot where it has so much story into it, right? This is 10 years in the making at this point. The steel chair in Roman's hand, he could hit Cody, or he could hit Seth. And I saw the clip on Twitter someone had posted after the WrestleMania was over where Seth says, who better to be there for you? There's nobody better to be your shield than Seth Rollins. And what does Seth do? He takes the chair shot. Roman chooses Seth for the chair shot, just like Seth did to Roman when he broke up the Shield all those years ago. Comes back to this moment, and he smacks him instead of Cody. And that decision right there, that not being able to let that go, is the reason why he lost. Because Cody goes over and gives him the Cody, or the I can't even remember, I can't even speak, but he hits him with his finisher. Then 1, 2, 3, and it's over. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. I was in awe. The reign is over. One of the craziest things when you think about the reign of Roman Reigns, when he won the title in 2020, was August of 2020 to April of 2024. If you were in high school, if you just were a freshman when Roman Reigns won that title, your entire high school journey is only Roman Reigns as your champion. Isn't that crazy to think? Even college, if you're in college for 4 years, right? Freshman to senior, all you know is Roman Reigns is your champion. It's almost like the Lakers, right? Or back in the day, the Islanders winning 4 in a row. Or the Yankees, winning championship after championship. It's like you only know that team. Tom Brady, you only know that team as your champion. You only know Roman Reigns as your champion. And at that moment, it was over. It's crazy to think that, right? The pandemic was 4 years ago now. If you can actually believe it, it started 4 years ago. And he became champion not too long after we were all in our houses waiting to see what would happen next. And it's over. And he got Cody. We're all singing this song and everybody comes out. All the baby faces came out. It was crazy. Even the ones that weren't involved in the story, like LA Knight and Randy. I mean, Randy was kind of involved. I guess LA Knight was actually involved. Now that I remember that there was title matches between them, but they're not really involved in the grand story of it. They had title matches, but that was it. But they all came out. Kevin Owens came out. Sami Zayn, Brandy Rhodes, Mama Rhodes came out. Cody asks Triple H to come out. Everybody was there. It was Avengers Endgame right there for us. The end of an era. The end of a reign. The end of the story. And now we start, I guess technically today, a new story. It was a cinematic finish. The best finish for me at a WrestleMania of all time. I didn't mention earlier that 21 is my favorite, because that was the first one that I ever watched. But the ending of that WrestleMania does not even come compare to this. I would argue that the end of Daniel Bryan, Wrestlemania, was not as good as this one, because this one just had so much story of not just last year's WrestleMania, not just the 2 years of Cody Rhodes being in the WWE, but you're talking, like we said, 10 years ago with The Shield and The Rock and Taker and Rock Cena. And all these stories were somehow looped into the ending of this one. It was just a beautiful masterpiece. And I'm honored to say that I got to be there in person. And I think this match, even if I gave it 10 out of 10, would be even better, will be even better when I watch it on replay. Watching the clips, the Michael Cole reaction, even seeing the stuff like Samantha doing the commentary for it, right? The announcement, the emotion that's coming from everybody is this. There's so much to this story that is just, it's just a magnificent, and even ties into All Elite Wrestling, AEW, and you know, again, I had mentioned even earlier all the Impact people, all the TNA people that were in these WrestleMania matches and stuff. Even when you got Eli Drake slash LA Knight, you know, coming out, like all these things tie in together, and it was just masterful. Best WrestleMania maybe ever. Definitely the best ending of all time. I'm so glad that I got to be there and be a part of it. My WrestleMania is not over. As I'm recording this, I'm supposed to meet Cora Jade in 8 hours. Less than 8 hours when World of WrestleMania opens up again. The whole reason I'm even going to that is because of Cora Jade. And then I got Monday Night Raw. And Monday Night Raw will be the end of the WrestleMania weekend for me and a lot of people. But I can say that I loved every second of it. Whether I was tired, exhausted, cheering, screaming, singing, I might not even have a voice tomorrow when I see Cora Jade. Like, this entire experience has been amazing. I only went to one other WrestleMania, WrestleMania 33. And that was 7 years ago now. I wanted to relive that and do all those things that I did back then. And I got that opportunity in the city of brotherly love, the city that I live in, that I've loved since I was very little. I didn't live in Philly back then. I was in California. When they announced WrestleMania being here in Philly, I was living in Indianapolis at the time. And I said I had to go to that. I don't know how I'm going to make it happen. I don't know what's going to happen. I, at that time, had no idea I would even move back to Philadelphia. I said, I need to go to this WrestleMania. And I did. So there's a lot of, for my story as well, which will be in my vlog whenever I post it, of this entire weekend. But it's just nice to see how everything kind of came together. That's it for my reactions. If you like the reactions, if you want to discuss anything, leave comments in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I know that my channel is very much video game based. It's on my streams. It's all the games that I play. But I definitely think that you'll see some more sports / wrestling content, breaking this, you know, wall that I've had of trying to do content like this. I'm still going to do my Twitch stuff. I'm still going to upload gameplays of all the games that I play and stuff. But I think incorporating the wrestling stuff in there and the fun stuff, the sports, you know, being April, we got baseball going on right now. We got NHL and NBA playoffs coming. You know, all these, we got soccer, MLS is here. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm very much into that you might see me do stuff on, whether it's discussions, maybe it's tier lists, maybe it's just oh, you know what, this game was going on and I saw it, so let me give you thoughts. I don't know. But at the end of the day, man, this was beautiful. The story ending, masterful. This is why we watch wrestling. The storytelling, right? The great matches that they put on, the emotions, the way that shit makes you feel inside. And this made me feel, as Simon Miller would say, all warm and fuzzy in my tum-tum. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next one.